Hey, it's Shannon from iHeartRadio Canada, joined by the wonderful JP Saxe. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so good to see you again.
It's good to see you too. I think you were one of my first iHeart interviews ever years ago.
I will take that. That's an honor to be there. Yeah, I think we actually did an interview like the week that you met Julia and recorded "If the World Is Ending" and all of those things. So
That was a good week too.
that's a good week, and this is a good week too. How are you feeling on the cusp of the release of your album?
Ecstatic. I mean, so many things. I've never put out an album before, so uh, it's exciting, and people seem to care, which is so cool. I've been getting to do interviews like this, and I'm not the only one excited about it. Even like my friends and family don't seem to be the only ones excited about it, which is such a trip, and I'm having a very good time.
Yeah, and I'm sure the excitement will just build when you can share the music with everybody when the album comes out tomorrow.
I hope you're right.
Yeah.
That would be ideal.
Yeah, I feel like that is definitely going to happen. When's the last time you've been able to come back and visit Canada? We miss you here.
That's a sad question.
I know.
Um,
We'll
it's
we'll
been a
build in
year.
the excitement.
It's been a year and a half. This is the longest in my entire life that I haven't been home. It sucks.
Yeah, unacceptable. You have to come back soon.
I'm trying. I mean, I'll be back there for the tour.
Yes. Yeah,
Um,
very
I'm I'm excited just to be home. The tour is just cherry on top.
Yeah, for sure. One of the wonderful things about you is how great of a storyteller you are. And this is really prevalent in this album in particular. So, were you always a storyteller even before you became a songwriter?
No, I think I was pretty introverted and quiet, but telling stories in my head, trying to explain my feelings to myself. And I think without realizing it, that's probably how I was growing into a songwriter as a
Right.
young person.
How did you make that step then from being so quiet and introverted to then, was it just journaling? Was it just getting into songwriting?
Um, the piano and songs were the first place I ever had a good relationship with myself. I was a super insecure teenager. Um, I didn't know where my confidence was going to come from. And it was music and instruments and in songs where I first even understood what it meant to have any kind of relationship with yourself. It's where I first started figuring myself out, and it still kind of is. So the thing that connects me to myself, being the thing that also gives me these songs that connect me to other people as well, is a really special part of my life.
Totally. And I think it takes a special kind of confidence to tap into the vulnerable places with your music because you do reveal some personal details about yourself and your life. So how do you find that line between what you decide to share with the world and then what's too much? Like where's that level of vulnerability end, if anywhere?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think what's mine to share is my own experience.
Right.
Anything that is my experience is within my jurisdiction. Um, I think there's also a distinction between talking about another person and talking about your feelings about another person.
Right.
Your feelings about another person are yours, but details about them are not. So to me, that's a line. As long as I'm talking about my experience, my feelings, then that's within range. My line in the sand is I try not to divulge anything that doesn't feel like it's for me to say.
Yeah. How did those conversations go then with dating another songwriter? Because that's a situation that not a lot of people find themselves in.
Yeah, well, we write a lot of our songs together, so that helps.
Mhm.
And she's my favorite songwriter on the planet, so I also look to her for her advice and notes on almost everything I do.
Yeah. Do you ever have conversations where you're like, you bring something up and then she goes, oh, I don't want to bring that up or vice versa?
Honestly, it's more like we're having just conversations in our relationship, and I'll say something that Julia thinks is songy, and she'll be like, "You should put that in a verse," and I'm like, "I'm trying to talk to you."
That's awesome. Or just like, I feel like arguments would be like that too. I'd be like saying something and then I'd be like, oh, that could fit into something.
Yeah, it's a little bit. That has happened from time to time.
Yeah, for sure. How do you feel going into this album? Did you have a plan for what you wanted the message of this album to be, or did it just come together with the songs that you made?
Yeah, I think one of the benefits of writing exclusively from your own experience and just putting sincerity at the forefront of everything is I didn't have to come up with a through line. It was just there's a through line because the songs are directly from my journals.
Right.
So the through line is it's my perspective, it's my life. There's songs in the midst of heartbreak trying to figure out who I am separate from the person who I thought being myself had to be next to. Um, There's songs about finding new love and just being awestruck by the wonder and curiosity of it being something that you never thought love could be. There's, song for a friend who's, I'm trying to share some of what I've learned from being very bad at heartbreak. A hype track for the heartbroken is how I describe the songs. There's songs about the loss of my mom. There's songs about the redefining home to myself as I grow up. There's so much of what my mind has been on, where my heart has been the last 4 years is what makes up this album.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I'm sure everyone will be able to enjoy it in that way. That's so great. I love the title of the album, which is Dangerous Levels of Introspection. What does that mean to you?
Oh, well, I think I haven't figured out how to describe this well yet, so just bear with me.
Yeah, go for it.
I think there is a level of emotional analysis that brings us closer to our own life, that makes us feel more present, more invested, more deeper in it. And then I think there's a level of emotional analysis that just takes you all the way out of the present moment and just ruins everything. And I think the line between those two things is where this whole album lives. Like right on the cusp of healthy nostalgia and very destructive nostalgia. And that's why that song felt like the title to the album, because as much as that song means something in that song, taking the title and going wide with it seems to, in a way, summarize every emotion that is overanalyzed on the album. Totally.
That's such a great way to describe it. You did that perfectly.
Thanks. I'm trying. It still feels a little rambly, but I appreciate your cosign.
Yeah, but I'm always jealous of songwriters in the way that they can pick apart their lives or like lay it all out and then make a beautiful piece of art. But I've never thought about the fact that it could maybe then go too far, like you're describing.
Yeah, I mean, I have yet to find what too far means talking about myself. And if I were to have thought what might be too far, there are parts of this album that's like, you're really going to tell everyone that? There's a song in this album called I Shouldn't Be Here. It's track 5, which it was a poem I'd written years ago, totally forgot about it. And my journal app gives me these notifications, like on this day, 2 years ago, you wrote. And about a year ago, it gave me one of those notifications. 2 years ago, you wrote this. And I read it and I was like, what is this? It made me laugh, and I remembered the whole situation. And later that day, I was watching an interview with Phoebe Waller-Bridge, and she was talking about how, I'm going to misquote her, which is disrespectful because I love her so much, but she said something along the lines of, she knows a scene has to go into Fleabag. She knows the scene fits if it scares her a little bit, if it's so vulnerable that it's scary. That's how she knows it's human enough to be there. And I thought, it was later that day, and I thought back on that poem, and I was like, I'm going to put that in a song, aren't I? I picked up my guitar and just kind of sang it through. The next day, laid it down. The recording on the album is just me playing it live, literally sitting right where you're talking to me. And there it is. So we'll see what kind of reaction that gets. But if I can't be confident about the parts of my emotional self that scare me on this album, then I don't think I'm really doing my job as an artist.
Yeah, for sure. And that's actually what I was leading to. I wanted to talk about that line because I did listen to the album and then that line came up and I just like burst out laughing because I think
it's funny. It makes me laugh
too. Funny. It's so good. And the album is incredible. So thank you so much for it. It's such a gift. And thank you for taking the time.
Thank you for taking the time and for telling people about it and for listening. It means a lot.